America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
Why size matters to blue-collar business owners. Staff, price, quantity. Kevin, this is going to be a great subject right here. What's your
Absolutely. My first thought is it matters for sure. You do small jobs, you're going to have small money. I always tell people, your bank account will be a direct reflection of your customer's bank account. So if you're going high-end homes, you're going to make more money. If you're going big commercial properties, like everybody knows I like apartment complexes and condo associations, they have big budgets. They have big bank accounts to spend on the services I do, and it reflects in my bank account. If you go with the low stuff and small customers, you're never going to make enough money that it makes sense for you to just, why are you doing it? The goal is to make millions of dollars.
That's it. And the thing about it is if you don't have a business big enough to where you can plug in more team members, then you're losing a massive leverage opportunity on other people's time. Because if you looked at every team member in your establishment, I don't care if it's a 1099, a W-2, a virtual assistant, every team member is carrying a amount of revenue for your company on their head. So if you looked at it like a little cartoon character with that number that's set above them, what is that number for your company, and how many of those little characters can you get inside your company to multiply that particular number? I remember when I first started in the cleaning business, I was looking at my individual time on site per person was $100. So if I had a guy on site, it needed to be making $100. Now it's $300 an hour for a team, so $150 each. Now I know 300 times 2 people what I need to have in employees and in team members to be able to hit a certain revenue goal for my floor cleaning services. So it's scale matters again in that aspect. What's another way that you would think scale has really played a big role?
Well, let's talk about that revenue, and because it matters on when you're there. So the big thing with this, so say you're trying to get your employee to create $800 a day or something. That's much harder to do if you're constantly going to small jobs. It's going to be whatever that number is. But for me, when we go to an apartment complex and there's 60 buildings there, it's very easy for guys to go produce probably 50% more than other companies doing the same type of work. Just because of there's less travel time. They have the same building. They get better at it because they're doing the same thing over and over. You're not dealing with a new homeowner every single time. And this one's got a dog and this one does it. And this one didn't answer the door. We don't care. We talk to, if we even talk to that manager in the morning, it's for 5 minutes and that's it.
Dude, that's huge. The fact that you just went commercial, residential, that scalability right there. I found that in my disaster cleanup company as well. When we went from a residential water loss into a commercial water loss, you're looking at an average price point on residential at $5,000. So how many 5,000s will I have to do to hit 2 million, 3 million? Or if I move into commercial, it's probably closer to about a 35, 40,000 average ticket.
Absolutely. And then there's another part of it that people don't even think about this. If you're going to do $5,000 worth of gutter cleans at, let's just say it's $100 each, and you got to do 50 houses, right? But you might do one complex at $5,000. So even if you're doing them for $200 and it's 200, you're doing 200, 250. You still got to send 250 invoices. You got to mark 250 invoices on QuickBooks. You have to deposit 250 checks. You have to reconcile. You have massive work behind the scenes after the job's done. You have to send 250 emails. It makes no sense. Just in that part, people forget even the money, the amount of time it's going to take. That's why if I get a complex and they say, oh, the first question we used to ask them was, is this one check or is this, because sometimes they say, oh, the homeowner's responsible, but most of them want to get it done and they want to, if you can give them a good price, I'm out of it. I don't want to chase 75, 150 people for checks. I want one check coming, one person. That's a massive one right there. You're going to spend way less time. You're going to probably get twice as much money. And then the most obvious one that people don't even realize, it's like if you fly with the hawks, you go up high. That's the commercial. There's very few hawks up there. You go down with the pigeons, not to shit on everybody, but there's too many people down there. You go for like middle class homes, there's like a million, whatever service you are, there's people putting flyers, they're door knocking, they're sending them messages, they're everything. Go for big commercial jobs, and I know that managers have to get 3 bids. They have trouble getting 3 bids all the time.
Dude, I love the fact that you brought up the back end work on it with the multiplication, because most people think scale in quantity of customers instead of quantity of square footage or units or whatever your particular measurement is on your formula of building an invoice. So you in apartments where you got multiple units, so you got longer linear feet of gutters compared to each individual residential house. I go into large commercial settings like churches or hotels that have lots of square footage that I can make money off the square footage instead of going to the individual house. I think a lot of people overlook the fact that now your transactions on the back end with the accounting, the collections, the expense tracking for each individual job site so you can get your COGS correctly. I mean, that's a lot that most people do not account for, and that would be a massive change just by moving into a larger scale of square footage.
I'll give you 2 scenarios. This is real life scenarios that happened to me. So we were doing roof cleaning like 12 years ago. That's when you clean the roofs of algae on the roofs with sodium hypochlorite. And I was definitely doing houses and stuff. But I did one condo association. I think I did it for $37,000. We were there for like 4 days, so we're making over $9,000 a day gross. We went in there and did it. Then I had this 55 and over complex. I knew the manager. The manager's like, oh, everybody's individual. All the houses were easy to do. I think we did like 47 houses. Let's call it 50 houses at like $500 each. So that's like 25 grand. First of all, we did not do that in anywhere near 4 days. It took way more. So I got 37,000 for this, less than 25,000 for this. We were trying to do everybody back to back. Like we have the hoses out. We just want to go to the next house and do it.
Right.
And that happened on some, and some people are like, no, my husband's not home. He says he needs to be here. But like, you're there.
Right.
And I can do this house in like 30 minutes if you just let me. We have to like reschedule, or some people are like, no, I only want you to do it on Monday because I'm at this on it. Like, and then we had to send out invoices to every single person. There's still like 6 people who owe me money in there.
Man.
And you say, oh, you should have got money up front. That 37,000 thing, they gave me a check like 36 days later for 37. Yeah. I think I got like 8 grand up front or something. I got the rest of that check. I was done. They never called back. I spoke to that manager. We had been doing the gutter cleaning for like 6 years. It was a slam dunk. Like that's a true story. And that's all those 50 houses were in the same neighborhood. And it was a straight headache to me. To do 50 or 100 all over the place, it would take you well over a month to do that.
Logistically, it's a nightmare.
I did it in 4 days. So, and then I think people get confused with, they have to be busy. They always think they have to have all this work and everything. I would rather do the $37,000 jobs. Yeah, I want to be busy and working every day, but I'd be okay doing the $37,000 jobs and having nothing to do on Friday and the next Monday.
Yeah.
While I go get more. You would have enough money, you could pay your guys to do it. Other people, they'll take on work just to take it on. You ever hear somebody say, I got to keep my guys busy?
Absolutely. And the reality is you can pay your guys more, they have more downtime if you were doing the correct jobs with the correct customers. Another way, though, is I found that I was getting better discounts on my supplies as I began to scale out, even with labor. For instance, with my real estate rehabbing, flipping company, because I sit there and I can supply nonstop work and they don't have to go out and market and hunt up new customers. They've got one source of income, one customer they've got to deal with. I get better breaks on their labor, but also in the supply range. You were telling me about your roofing company that you just acquired.
Yeah. So I purchased a roofing company, and the guy's he's got regular old rates, right? He's getting supply, the guy who had it. But I have a guy who worked for me for a long time. We developed a friendship, and he's now killing it in the roofing game in New Jersey. These are national companies, ABC Supply. And while we build up to get to his level, we're going to use him as he's going to be the person that gets the supplies for us, working a deal out with him
Huge.
because he's getting them for like 14% less.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that guy, go buy 14%, go buy $2 million worth of material. We're not at that point yet, but go buy $500,000 worth of material and save 7 grand really easy. But that's massive. I'll give you an example. When I did my roof for my mom's house, she was in that same place we did the roof cleaning. They're pretty big roofs.
Yeah.
And I think she was telling me all her neighbors were paying like 20, 21 grand. So I saw that, hey, I can get the materials. I have a guy who can do it and everything. And I can basically get this done for like 14 or 15 grand. It's going to save my mom money. Then I went to Kevin Reich, who I was just talking about. And he was like, oh, I'll get you the materials. He got me the materials. I saved another 2 Gs
Oh, yeah.
because so I was like, then I was looking at it and I'm like, wait, people are paying 21 grand. I basically got my mom's roof done for 11 grand. I could just go get roofs in here and make 10 grand. And that's why I already knew there was a lot of money in roofing because I had done it in the past. But that's why you have to get, when you do massive volume, you're going to get much better rates. And other people can't compete.
I think it's not even a bad idea to consider who can you co-op with like you did with Kevin in your local market. What if you built relationships with your so-called competition in your area, one or two of them? And let's say that there's 10 roofers or there's 10, 15 carpet cleaners or disaster cleanup. What if you just got one or two and you went in each year and you bought your supplies together to get a massive discount? I mean, there's so many ways to cut off the overhead and the cost of goods sold when you bring quantity in the equation. Anytime I go for a supply, especially for my equipment, I'll always ask my supplier rep, I say, give me the quantity breaks in your volume so that I can make the decision on how much I'm purchasing. And at that point, that's when I'll sit there and do the math and decide, does it make sense if this is going to sit in storage for this discount? And or should I go ahead and buy a smaller quantity with less discount because my money's not going to sit in storage for 8 months, 6 months. But if it's a couple of months just sitting there, I'm definitely going to get the larger quantity and get the price break at whatever quantity point.
Anytime you get in quantity, you're going to do much better. And if somebody said, well, why would Kevin Reich want to do this for Kevin Marin? Well, what he does is super smart. He takes his list of what he bought at the end of every year around Christmas time. He emails it to some other national suppliers and he says, hey, this is what I spent. I bought $3 million or whatever in material. This is a breakdown. There's no BS what I'm saying. This is what I broke. This is what I paid. Can you do better? I like them, so you have to do better. And then he puts his own supplier on alert. Hey, I'm going to shop. I like you guys, but I think I can do better. So he's been able to get it down. So when he pulls in my materials, is that going to make him stronger or weaker?
Absolutely.
It's going to be stronger.
Absolutely.
So that's what everybody should do.
Super smart.
On a smaller level, just like I used to rent 8 or 9 vans, cargo vans at one time during the fall when I was in New Jersey and just didn't have, I would just do it because it was cost effective to go in, get the gutters done and out. And I would call up Budget. I'd call up Enterprise. I'd call up Rent-A-Wreck and I would tell them, hey, this is what I would do a similar thing. This is what I paid last year. This is where I need you to be. You think these one branches don't want to rent you 9 vans for
absolutely
6 weeks? They will. And I would get phenomenal pricing. I mean, I was getting vans for like $31 a day.
Well, these suppliers, majority of your retail salespeople, they work off of quotas. So you're helping them hit quotas. I mean, when you're taking chunks out of that quota mark, man, you're going to get bigger discounts. It is the ultimate hack. That's why your bigger companies are able to offer such lower prices because they get their product at such a much discounted rate compared to your more local places. So as a local, if you're a local small blue collar business, you need to understand that game. And if it takes partnering up like you've done, Kevin, with another individual, maybe in another market as well, then so do it. Like those alliances are priceless for your bottom line.
Absolutely. And we can go on and on about this, and we will come back and talk to this, but we're going to wrap up today's show about, I think anybody listening to this understands why it's better to go big than go small.
Absolutely.
And on our next episode, we're going to talk about who deserves your blue collar marketing dollars, where you should spend that money, where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, where you shouldn't have. Chris and I only talk about stuff we've actually done. So we'll tell you what we would love to go back and tell ourselves, don't do that shit.
Absolutely.
Or do more of this. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help you guys get to where we are and further much faster. Trust me, I've been doing this for 32 years. I would love to go in a time capsule and give me 20 minutes to tell myself a bunch of things. I'll save myself, insane amounts of money.
Absolutely. And look, guys, check us out on Facebook, Blue Collar Millionaire Facebook group. That's a free group interviewing superstar entrepreneurs every single Tuesday at 11 Eastern. Hope to see you on the next episode.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.